the welcome to the October Parks and Recreation meeting. I am honored to be your chair, your new chair, for this committee. So the first item on the agenda is just introductions. So my name is Ramdat Singh. I am the committee chair. And if we can just wrap around the room and just have the committee members and guests introduce themselves. Marvin, do you want to go next?
Okay, my name's Marvin Goodman. I've been a member of the community board since 1996. My wife was a member of the community board for the 25 years before that, and I used to come to the meetings every one of these times anyway, but I figured it's better for me not to be on the same community board with her. After she passed away, I took over and became a member of the community board. And I want to thank the community board and the Parks Committee in naming a little park on just at the east side of Henry Hudson Parkway and Capock Street after her. There's a little park there called the Phyllis Post Goodman Park.
Is that the one at the top of the hill with a
But any
turn?
of you who are not familiar with it and the work of the community board with parks, I want to let you know about it.
Perfect. Anyone who wants to introduce themselves?
Take people in order.
I think
I'm happy
I
to
see Bob
go.
next. Oh, okay, go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. My name's Deb Travis. I've been on the community board now. This is my third year. I'm also the chair of the Traffic and Transportation Committee. And I've been participating in, been on the Parks Committee for 3 years, the whole time I've been on the board, but I've been participating in meetings since 2016. And I founded Drone Park Friends and Neighbors in 2017, partly from connections I made by attending these parks events and getting in contact with Partnership for Parks for the board. So that's me. And welcome, Ramdat. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think Bob is next, and then we'll wrap around to some of the guests. Bob and then Rob, and then wrap around.
So I'm a longtime member of the Parks Committee. I've been on the committee for 15 years, and I was chair for 13 of those 15 years. And I am currently the vice chair of the community board.
Hi, I'm Rob Czechowski. I've only been on the board about 3 years, and I've been on the Parks Committee for all of those 3. And I guess now I'm secretary too. So congratulations, Rob, on your elevation.
Congratulations, Rob. I guess we can have Herb, then Bonnie, Karen, Marie, Joseph. Just go in that order.
Herb, on with the board maybe 2006 and been somewhat active, and main route has been I've been trying to restore a memorial, and with success with a partner of mine, Don Tannen, we did, and now I try to watch after that grove. If you don't mind, I'll make an announcement later if you can call upon me.
Perfect. And I think Bonnie is next.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Bonnie Youssef. I've been a member of the Riverdale for 50 years. I started out many, many years ago. I was on the community board, one of the committees, and I'm involved with the Democratic Club, and I care about my community. So I show up when I need to, I'm there. And this is very disturbing that we're back again talking about another home here in Riverdale where we're saturated, and I don't know why they keep on coming for us.
Thanks, Bonnie. Nice to meet you. Joseph.
Hi, my name's Joe Magnieri. I am the park manager for District 7 and 8. So I'm your park manager in District 8.
Perfect. And I think Karen's next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Argenti. I'm a member of the board of the Bronx Council for Environmental Quality, and I've been going to board meetings for like forever.
Marie?
I'm just, the pandemic led me to see what the community board was about. And I've been listening in on a number of different committees. I'm interested whether, I guess, taking care of a tree with a business led me to all of this. And I don't know if, for example, there are funds for a little railing around that tree, or if we'll just build a wooden fence. But anyway, I'm just getting to know what is a community board. Thank
Perfect.
you.
No, thank you. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie Ehrlich, and I'm the park administrator for Van Cortlandt Park and also the executive director of Van Cortlandt Park Alliance.
Awesome. Hey, Margaret.
Hi.
We're just doing introductions.
Hi, I'm Margaret Della. I'm a community board member. I work at Kingsbridge Heights Community Center, which is technically owned by the New York City Parks Department. And that building was built in 1902. And so all things are really important to me. So I'm happy to be here tonight. And I love Van Cortlandt Park. So thank you.
Glad to have you. And we'll do Mike and then Ray after that, and then we'll get started with our agenda.
Sure. Hi, Mike Ortiz. I'm the Bronx Director of Capital Projects for the New York City Parks Department.
Thanks. Hey, Ray.
Hi, Ray Bromley. I live on 232nd Street and West 232nd. And I have a special interest in Van Cortlandt Park.
Perfect. Nice to meet everyone. And the first order of this board or this committee meeting is the approval of the September 30th committee minutes. So I pulled it up just to refresh what was discussed. And are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes, or is everything correct?
Ramdad, there's one thing that we do need to change, one minor item.
Okay.
Under the are you controlling the screen?
Yes, I am.
Can you pull it up to the top to the attendance?
Yep.
Okay. Under community, we had Kelly B. I didn't know at the time, but I have since learned that Kelly B is Kelly Buford, who is a community board member.
Okay.
So she should actually be listed under other CBA.
Okay, perfect. I will make that adjustment.
Right.
I'll need to make a small correction there. Under Herb Barrett, there's a single T.
Yes,
Okay.
You're right, Herb. We spelled your name wrong.
All right, I will make that adjustment as well. Any other changes? Perfect. Are there any motions on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Perfect. All in favor? Just, I guess, raise your hand.
How do I do
Perfect.
that?
Yeah, this is just for committee members to vote on. Perfect. So it is passed unanimously, and I will make those changes. Perfect. Thank you all. First, the second item on the agenda is the chair's report. So I just want to say thank you all. As you already know, I'm the new Parks Chair committee chair. I want to thank you all for believing in me and my leadership and ensuring that this committee continues to have a chair. I'm looking to learn from everyone on this that attend this meeting. I'm only 29, so I have a lot to learn. Looking forward to learning from everyone on this Zoom and learning more about a lot of the parks in our community board, the vicinity of our CBA. So just a few things to, to update you all on. So last week, we had a community member sent in pictures about a dozen milk crates near Bailey Playground by Tibbetts Tail. And those crates were removed. So we just want to thank Parks for their, their timeliness and urgency to remove those crates so that way nobody gets hurt along that Tibbetts Tail. And last month, Chair Spalter and Councilmember Dinowitz and the Parks Department toured Ewan Park and toured the park specifically for the stairs up on the northern part, which I think is made up of shale, if I'm not mistaken, because I walk that park all the time, and saw the need for the renovations. However, the Ewan Park stairs hasn't been funded yet. And we will update you all once that capital project is funded. The next thing is the Cedric tree update. Department of Forestry, or ZEV, mentioned that they are finished inspecting all the trees along Cedric Avenue, and they are compiling a report for us. So as soon as I get that report, I will send it over to the committee members. And we will reach out to Zev and have him attend our December meeting to update the community about the tree inspection that they did. I think that's all for my chair's report. So the next item is just committee organization. I am the new chair, and it was recommended that I, have a vice chair just in case I cannot attend or I cannot attend like an executive meeting. So is there any committee members that can step up and serve as vice chair?
Ramdan, I'm not sure of the committee members who are on the call. Bob and Rob and I are already on the executive committee. So I don't think we're eligible to be vice chairs. Bob, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think it would have to be Stacy. Oh, well, I guess I should look. Who else is on well, David Gelman is also chair of budget.
And I think it's Courtney.
Courtney. That's, yeah. It'd have to be Courtney.
So I guess we'll just have to table this for next month. And I guess that's fine. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to table the vice chair moving for next month's December's meeting. The other thing is I am taking minutes at the moment, but can someone take minutes moving forward? Who's on the community board?
Ramdad, I'll take the minutes at the December meeting.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right. So the next line item is just a report and discussion of capital projects. Mike Ortiz from Bronx Capital Projects. Can you update us on some of the capital projects?
Sure. Hi, Ron, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So I do have a one quick update before I get started. The Ewan Park stairs, we actually do have funding for most of the stairs. I believe that there's another set of stairs that actually were not included in the estimate because we weren't asked to look at them. So that project is fully funded. It was fully funded by Councilmember Dinowitz at the start of the fiscal year. So we do plan to start the design of that before the end of this fiscal year.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Mike, could I ask you a question? I'm sorry,
course,
Ramdad, is it all right with you?
Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
so there are two sets of stairs, as you know, Mike. And let's say, you know, the north end and the south end. I believe it's the north end that's most in disrepair, closer to 232nd Street. Is that the stairway that you have funding for?
You know something? I did look it up, and I'm actually home, so I don't have the files in front of me. I can definitely get back to you, but I did look that up, and I have to say, I believe it's the longer stairs that are in disrepair. That we have the estimate for. Excuse me.
Okay. No, I understand you're at home. Okay, so perhaps you could just send that information in when you have it.
I definitely will do. I do that first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If he says
So-
the longest stairs, that sounds like the north end.
It does sound like the north end, but let's wait for Mike to confirm exactly which set he's talking about.
Perfect.
One question about that. I know that on our capital priorities, we had erosion control in Ewan Park. Is this a separate project from that?
Yes, it would be a separate project. So the erosion control so I've walked this park numerous times, in all honesty, looking for the erosion control, and I haven't really seen the erosion control, the erosion issues that you guys mentioned. Are you referring to that entrance off of 232nd Street, where there's like a patch of lawn that just the grass refuses to grow? Is that the location?
Mike, I'm sorry. This is Joe Magnieri. Mike, I'm sorry if you don't mind, because I actually have some information on this. So when we toured the park with Councilmember Dinowitz and Commissioner Iris, and we were all there and we were walking, and we saw that basically the worst area was near the benches adjacent to the dog walk and the playground, the small playground off of 232. It's right that so if you're walking down the path, it's on the right side of the path, right next to the benches. So the borough, using the nursery, has decided to take it on as a project, and they are actually working on it. And then the Friends of Ewan Park, once we're ready to do some planting, and you know, when the prep is over, they're actually going to get involved as well to help. So it's actually something that we're going to try to take care of.
Excuse me, I have a
Speaking of-
question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Sounds like
Bonnie,
it-
and then,
Okay.
sorry, Bonnie and then Herb.
Okay, when do we get to talk about other areas that need to be looked at, like we're kind of like forgetting Knowles Crescent and K-Park, there's rats there. And when I've called up Dinowitz's office, he told me I should go call, 311, I should go do this. And it doesn't seem like anybody's paying attention to this area that's in great need of help. And also coming up, I think it's that touches K-Park Street. Is that Ewing coming up? Next to, it's where the taxi cab drivers sit. It is so disgusting over there with the rats, and no matter who you speak to, whether it's the building, they say it's not our area. So I don't know who owns all of that coming all the way up the hill. Who looks into it, whose responsibility it is to clean it up.
You're speaking way south of Ewan Park, though.
Yes. But it's still within our district, and it's this district.
Joe, do you have an answer to Bonnie's question?
I mean, if it's on Parks property, at the top of the flight of steps, we could put in a request for the exterminator to come and see what he could do. But I also know that, so like Ewan going down, I believe it's 232nd. There's that lot that there seems to be doing construction. So it's like kind of down the block from where the taxi drivers kind of hang out. That's not our property where the construction is. But then at the 232nd entrance, somebody was feeding cats. We did have a rat problem. We baited, we could bait again. we could definitely do something again. If those are the two areas, you know?
I
No,
do.
I'm
They
big
still,
on-
they're still feeding cats there. I walk my
Yeah,
dog
yeah.
and there's food there every night.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough because, you know, we could bait, but as long as they have something to eat,
Right.
you know, it's,
Yep.
it kind of
Yep.
works out for them.
Yep.
On K-Poc and Knowles Crescent, the area that has the rats.
But that's very far away from Ewan Park.
Yeah,
So we
if
can
it's not on,
only, so
Well, he's
nobody.
in charge of the parks. Joe is in charge of the
Well,
parks.
why don't
Who
we
takes
get
care of that part?
Bonnie,
over you in Park and then let Bonnie jump in with the K-Park area?
I'm sorry, K-Puck and Ewan, K-Puck and Knowles Crescent,
K-Poc and Knowles Crescent.
I actually don't
Also-
think that's our property.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Bonnie
I don't
put
think that's our property.
we're on K-Poc and Knowles Crescent. And when you just get off the Henry Hudson Parkway there,
Right.
that's where the Phyllis Post Goodman Park is, my wife's park.
That's
I-
right, going north.
Yes, right after the exit, K-Pop Street exits from the highway. And I wanted to say that I am very thankful. There are several women volunteers who have cleaned up that little park, gotten everything put all together, all the litter, but they're waiting and waiting and waiting for the Parks Department to take it away. They keep telling me it's there, but Parks Department doesn't come to pick it up.
all right, we'll pick it up. You know,
Okay.
tomorrow it'll be gone. I mean,
Pick it up. I'm
obviously,
glad you're gonna
sometimes,
pick it up, because the Parks Department isn't.
yeah, no, I'll get it picked up. I'll get it picked up. It's just,
Okay.
you know, we have a lot of issues with equipment going down, picking up garbage with pickup trucks, and so there's some issues occasionally, but it'll get picked up tomorrow.
I'm
Thanks,
sorry, if
Joe.
I can just interject a second. I don't believe that the area by K-Puck and Knowles Crescent is Parks Department property.
That little park is Parks Department
Yes.
property. Come on.
Yes, it is. It has a little green sign on there.
There's a sign
You're-
from the Parks
You're
Department.
talking about, Marvin, you're talking about two different places. They're near each other, but they're not the same place. K-Poc and Knowles Crescent is not the same place as where Phyllis Post Goodman Park is,
That's
which
correct.
is on the Henry Hudson
That's on-
Parkway.
That's the Henry Hudson Parkway and K-Pop Street.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not far apart from each other, but they are two different locations. But
Yeah,
this
it's
is really,
close
this is
by.
not a parks issue. This is an issue for the Environment and Sanitation Committee or the Health and Hospitals and Social Services Committee. But the most important thing here is to call it into 311, get a complaint number, and then contact the community board office with that complaint number, so the community board office can follow up with the relevant agency. That's
Okay.
the way to do this.
Okay,
Thank you, Bob,
It's
for
like-
that clarification.
okay.
Mike, do you want to continue about the capital projects?
Before
Yeah,
you go,
sure.
please. Excuse me, I want to get back to Ewan Park before you finish with it.
Okay, go ahead, Herb. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
All right. All right. Where you were talking about the restoration that's going to happen, it sounds like it's at the proximate top of the hill of Ewan Park. But if you look at Ewan Park, it's quite steep because we live in a mountainous area, believe it or not, although it's all streets. And it's quite steep. And what happens is the runoff water hits the crosswalk that goes up at an angle from 232nd Street going kind of northwest. And it actually grooves out the edge of the walkway. And then it becomes a stream going along that groove out, and it just pours down to where the benches are at the bottom of the hill at the edge of 232nd Street. If you could follow just what I described. I lost audio. Anybody there?
No, we can hear you, Herb. Mike or Joe?
Yeah, Mike, I feel like that might just be something that you might have to go over with somebody. Just I know what we're doing, but Mike, we'll talk tomorrow about that particular area.
Sure thing. Okay, so the three projects that I was asked to update you guys update you on were the 4-4 comfort station, Strong Street Playground, and the classic fitness equipment. So for the 4-4 comfort station, we put the project out to bid and we did receive some bids. The bids were pretty much in line with what we expected. I don't remember exactly. I believe they were just a little bit over the funding that we had or our estimate. I believe we do have the funding for it, but they were just slightly over. And the lowest bidder is currently being vetted. Once the lowest bidder gets vetted and they're they get the go ahead, it pretty much moves through the procurement process. This one may start hopefully in the spring. It could start sooner than that, but I doubt it. We probably are going to want to start this one in the very late winter, early spring. It's hard to put a date on it because, as you know, during COVID, we had to put all of our projects on hold, and the procurement process really was backed up. So we have all these projects that finished design that were in procurement, that were kind of like stuck. So now we're releasing them as they go. So there is a huge backlog that we're working through. My best guesstimate for starting construction here, if the procurement process goes well, would be the spring of 22. Any
Perfect.
questions on that one? Okay. The second project is a Washington's Walk Strong Street Playground. This is anticipated to be completed in spring of 2022. The reason for that is it was anticipated to be completed this fall, but we ran into a couple of issues. One of them was the budget. Another couple of them were that we have to do some real heavy duty site investigations here because of the bedrock and a couple of other issues. Actually, if you've been by there for the past couple of days, you see that they are doing some site investigations as we speak, some geotechnical analysis, opening up the manholes to just make sure. We want to make sure when we go into construction that we know what we're facing and not have a situation where we start construction and we rip up the park and then we come up with some structures or some unfavorable material, and then the park is left closed until we figure out how to address those issues. So we had to push the design back just a little bit, but that we do anticipate the design finishing in the spring. And the last one here is
Mike,
one question.
sorry, Deb has a question about the Washington Walks.
Sure, hey Deb.
Oh, hey, Mike. I just want to know when you expected the construction might begin. I don't know how long you think it'll take to build it out.
Yeah, sure. So if design is finishing in the spring, the procurement usually takes about 9 to 10 months. So let's say procurement finishes at the end of 22. We should start construction probably in spring of 23. We try not to start any construction projects in the wintertime. It's just, contractors don't like it, and there's not much they could really do in the wintertime. They may start but have to hold off because of winter, and then you guys are left with an ugly construction site. So the chances are it'll probably be spring of 23 that we'll start construction.
Okay, cool. And then the comfort station, just because these two things are fairly close together. So the 4-4 comfort station, the spring anticipated start for construction there, how long will that construction take?
The comfort station, I believe it's 18 months.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, generally our parks projects or landscape, playground reconstructions, park reconstructions are usually about a year. Buildings are 18 to 24 months because they are more complex, but it's usually about 18 months.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and the last project that I have on here is the classic fitness equipment. That project is in design, and we anticipate finishing design in November. We just had a review of the blueprints to make sure that we're just crossing crossing the Ts and dotting the Is, as they say. And that should soon transmit into procurement. So procurement should be finished sometime, maybe the fall of 22 or earlier. So we may have construction there prior to the end of next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Any questions for Mike on any of the other capital projects that he mentioned? All right, thank you so much, Mike. And so the next item on our agenda, oh, sorry, Marie, you have a question? Marie, you are on mute.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, thank you. I wondered if the Bailey Playground was one of the projects of the community board. Bailey
Hi.
Playground, and it has an extension into a Tibbet, some kind of Tibbet trail.
Sure.
Tibbet's tail, yeah.
Yeah, Bailey Playground unfortunately does not have any funding allocated for the reconstruction.
Okay,
It would be a playground that I would love to have reconstructed, and I know that it's a very high priority for the community board as well. All we can say at the moment is keep asking the elected officials to fund it, and hopefully they'll fund it one day.
Okay, thank you.
Marie, that's something we are looking into. And I live right 3 blocks away from Bailey Playground. So that's something I would like to see done as well. So that's something we're looking into, okay?
Yeah, I would say even just a few cans of paint to repaint the bathroom, which is so dark and cheerless, as is the playground, but it doesn't have to be a multi-million, I mean, it'd be nice to have a many thousands of dollar project, but even just painting that bathroom structure, just emphasize the barren grimness of the playground. If there was some money there.
No, no, I hear you.
I'm glad you know it. Okay.
No, I played basketball in Bailey Playground when I was younger, so I know that entire area
All
really
right.
well.
Thank you. Great. Thanks.
Margaret, you have your hand up?
Sorry.
Bailey Playground has been under a list to be repaired and restored and et cetera, for I can't remember how many years since before I joined the committee. And I keep complaining about it. It's not to say a bad word. I just say complain. And I've been bringing it up, and it's always said, well, it's a big project. It takes a lot of funds. So does a lot of other things.
Yeah, we'll look into it. I see Margaret, then Bob, then Deb. Hey, Margaret.
Hi. I wanted to ask about allocations. It looks like the mayor and future mayor are making pledges to reinstate some funding to the New York City Parks Department. In terms of allocations, is that something that's going to be made public to the community board about what kinds of investments there's going to be in the Bronx and specifically our district? As I mentioned, our building is owned by the Parks Department, and we are, believe it or not, about to undergo like a massive, for us anyway, a capital project sometime in 2022, but it barely scratches the surface for what's needed in this 1902 building that has this landmarked facade. Is that an investment in some of the buildings that are owned by the Parks Department? I know we're not the only one, but looking at those kinds of buildings that have never been, undergone a capital project like this, is that something that is being prioritized in this new funding, or can you give us a sense of where those priorities align?
So I believe that the funding you're referring to is the Community Parks Initiative, and that reconstructed parks and playgrounds in underserved communities that have not received funding of $250,000 or more in the last 20 years. I don't think our recreation centers have ever qualified for this funding. And I believe that they're only going to do, excuse me, 10 sites per borough. I'm sorry, 10 sites citywide. Per year. So I can ask about it, but I don't necessarily know that buildings would qualify for this.
Margaret, do you have a follow-up or?
No, I don't. I think, well, I guess in terms of like requesting funding through the city, I don't think it's part of what's possible for us to ask for additional capital dollars in the future, just because financing is so difficult. But like in terms of other capital projects or other lines of funding, I know the Parks Department consistently reports that it's not being funded to its full capacity. Where are capital projects in terms of being budget priorities within the Parks Department?
So Margaret, as you mentioned prior, our parks and our buildings and stuff, it's hard for us to get funding for it. We don't have our own capital budget. This is something I have said over and over again, and it's quite unfortunate, but parks, libraries, and schools, in order to get capital funding, we actually have to go to the elected officials, and they have a limited budget of what they can give us for capital improvements. It's other agencies do have their own capital budgets where they put in plans and they can distribute it where they see the need. We don't have that, and because of that, a lot of our parks and our buildings really have fallen into disrepair. It's very hard to get something funded when the funder does not see the outcome. So for instance, it's great to get a playground funded if it's used by thousands of kids a week, but it's very hard to get like a boiler at a recreation center funded if it's something that most people don't see. So I completely get where you're coming from, but again, the way that the structure works, we don't have our own capital budget.
Thanks for that, Mike. I'll move on to Bob.
I just wanted to comment. Marie Claude asked about the Bailey Playground. That has been ever since we found out that there was funding for the restroom in Fort Ford Park. Bailey has either been the #1 or the #2 capital budget priority, Parks budget priority for Community Board 8. I think it's a horrendous playground. I've said to people, it looks more like a parking lot than a park. It's all asphalt. It's ugly. It desperately needs money, and paint would help the restroom, but frankly, it really needs a total redesign and reconstruction, and that's a big project. But it's been high on our list, and we're going to continue to advocate for it.
All right, let's go to Deb, and then Mary will be after.
So I wanted to put two things maybe into this conversation about Bailey Playground, just in terms of thinking about funding, because it's adjacent to the Major Deegan, which does had substantial flooding over the summer. I feel like there may be an opportunity to think of Bailey Playground also in terms of blue belts or water catchment or drainage, or to both protect the highway, but then also to address some of the drainage issues that Bailey Playground also has, which is part of the reason it's so expensive to do the development of it, the renovation of it. So I was reading through the New York City report stormwater that came out of Hurricane Ida. And there were two things that kind of popped out. One was that there's a program with the Trust for Public Land regarding stormwater management for playgrounds. It's specifically focused on school playgrounds because it's a partnership with the School Construction Authority, but it also seemed like it might be a tree worth barking up just to see if what kind of programs they may have in general for playgrounds, specifically around resiliency. The other thing was that I noticed that there was potentially federal funding under the proposed Emergency Watershed Protection Program for Blue Belts. Blue Belts are a combination of green infrastructure and gray infrastructure, meaning, concrete, water catchments, things like that. There was apparently a program or project in, I think it was Harlem, where they took a basketball court and they lowered it so that it could be used to capture water. And that would then run off slowly, because really the problem with stormwater is that you get too much all at once. Not that you don't have any place for it to go, but so that they just integrated it into the design of the basketball court so that it could, during high water marks like this, be used for that kind of thing. So I don't know if those are also potential sources of funding. And I also think it's just worth calling out that the Bailey Playground is in our floodplain, and it's also in one of our environmental justice zones. So it should qualify for various programs and stuff. So we'll have to kind of see how the federal funding and stuff works out. But I thought, as we're trying to figure out where to get sources for funding, state and federal sources are going to probably play into this because of the large amount of money, and that happens to be exactly the areas of the Deegan from 225th to Van Cortlandt Park, where we experienced the most substantial flooding. And while the Tibbetts Brook daylighting is going to be monumental in terms of eliminating flooding coming down from Van Cortlandt Park, there's still the issue of the water coming down from Kingsbridge Heights. So Bailey Playground might be able to play a role in that. So I thought it was important to kind of bring that stuff into the conversation.
Thanks, Deb. Marie, I'm gonna have Mike respond and then I'll call on you, okay?
Sure.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Hi, so we actually do use a lot of combination of green infrastructure in our playgrounds. A lot of what you mentioned, and one of the ways that I've actually been able to get a lot of our features reconstructed has been through our green infrastructure team, which works with DEP. So so remember how I mentioned other agencies do get capital funding? Well, DEP does get capital funding, which they in turn pay for certain parks projects under our green infrastructure team. And I believe I have asked them to look at Bailey Playground in the past to see if we can get a few of the items reconstructed. They will not reconstruct entire playgrounds. They will only reconstruct, whatever aspect they will be using to collect the rainwater with. So for instance, I might be able to get them to reconstruct the basketball court if they put a detention or retention system under the basketball court. I can get them to pave if they're regrading to a rain garden, that sort of thing. But I do believe that I have asked them to look into Bailey, and I honestly don't know where, if they said it was a feasible site or it wasn't, because there are a lot of factors that determine where the green infrastructure can go.
Yeah, I think that we've struggled to get green infrastructure on this side of the Bronx because of we're not within a priority zone for DEP. Yeah. So,
yeah, that, and also the bedrock is very, very high.
Right. The water table is very high.
All right, Marie. Thanks for being patient.
Oh, well, I've walked by that playground a great deal. I understand, I even was told a few years ago, it's millions, etc. But in the meantime, there are mothers and children who do go to that penal colony playground, and just a few thousands to repaint that terrible bathroom place in bright colors, and a few benches along the back fence so the mothers can sit down while their kids play with a few swings and the one water fountain. Just not expensive touches until the big thing arrives. You see them standing around the swings because there's nowhere for them to maybe sit and talk while they watch their kids. And then a coat, a bright color, happy something on that bathroom place. If there is spare money somewhere, I'm putting in my dime on behalf of that section. It doesn't have to be much until big projects come in because children are growing up. That's it. Sorry.
I'm done. Can I follow that?
Yeah, go ahead, Herb.
The speaker before was talking about the water table, including the Major Deegan, et cetera, and the Bailey Park and all that. We got to remember that back in 18 whatever, this area was underwater. There was a water line running approximately parallel to Broadway. There was another water line running approximately with Tibbet Avenue, which was a lake. There was water coming from upstate into Van Cortlandt and then pouring into this area. So it's a very water area, and contractors constantly have trouble building into the ground, making foundations, running into water. So with that put aside, I'm looking at Bailey Park as connecting to the greenway that's above it, between it and the building on 231st Street, on 236th Street. And that area is very steep grade down towards the Major Deegan. And it must have a fortune of water running off there into the Deegan. Now, of course, it's a huge project to level off something like that or to put a crown on it and make it a flat top. But maybe Bailey Park can actually be extended into part of that. And the two courts, the handball courts that's there, maybe that can be expanded into that area, and the park itself be expanded into that area and make use of some of that if it's not pre-designed for something else. Thank you.
Thanks, Herb. All right, Mike, is there anything else you want to add to your report about the capital projects?
No, that's it.
Thank you so much, Mike. And thanks, Joe, for chiming in. All right, so the next item on the agenda is Stephanie from Van Cortlandt Park Alliance.
Hi.
Stephanie, hey.
So just wanted to thank everybody who participated in Manhattan College Cross Country Invitational. We had some support from the community board. Rob Jaklowski, Rob, there you are. Thank you for volunteering. And David Gelman, also not here tonight, but he volunteered as well and was very helpful in the planning stages of the event. It went really well. It was considerably smaller than in years past, but there were 4,500 high school students who ran in the park. They all brought family and friends. So, you know, we were estimating easily about 6,500, 7,000 people in the park that day. And all things considered, traffic moved really well. NYPD was there. They did a great job. Our Park Enforcement Patrol also did a great job. So, so yay, we're almost through cross country season. We've got a couple more races. You know, the kids are practicing on weekdays, and then there are some big races on the weekends. Nothing the same size as that Manhattan College cross country. But the last big race of the season is November 27th, and that's the Foot Locker race. So if anybody wants to volunteer for that, Rob, you're more than welcome to join us. And I also want to just thank folks who came out for our Hiketoberfest and for our volunteer appreciation event. There's Bob Bender. Hi, Bob. Thanks for coming out, and thank you folks for volunteering out in the park all the time. There's Ray. Thanks for coming out, Ray. Much appreciated. Of course, we've had some crazy storms even after Ida. Yesterday was another very big rainfall for us, and luckily after Ida, my Parks Department team did some clearing of debris from the weir in the lake in Van Cortlandt Park, and then worked with DEP, who then came and removed some more debris, so that although there was an enormous amount of water rushing in, it did not overflow in the same way that it did for this last storm event. So that was good. There are a lot of other locations in the park that are hit hard, not just the lake. Our cross-country trails actually have been hit really, really hard. We have now had to rework them 3 times because of all of the rain. And again, thanks to volunteers, and we will be continuing to nudge you for help in that arena as we go forward. I think that's it for me, except for plugging some programs for the Alliance. Go to our website, vancortlandt.org, and you'll see that we still have some volunteer days left through the end of November. Wednesdays and Fridays, we have volunteer days. We have some programs still coming up, and looking forward to hopefully a quiet late fall and winter.
Thanks, Stephanie. Is there any questions for Stephanie?
I'll just say, I said this at the general meeting, that was a beautifully run event, that Manhattan Invitational. And the leading question was, you could tell before they asked it, where's Lloyd's Carrot Cake? That was the question I answered about, I think 37 times. But it was great. It's so cute to see kids who've never been to New York nervous about every facet of being in New York, like crossing the street. And it was
great.
Just delightful. Thank you.
Stephanie, can I speak on that project with all the children having school over there, that the buses get off Broadway? I know we've attacked that problem some years ago, and we thought we gave the buses a place to park, I think it was down towards Bailey area, I forget exactly where. And now that the street is narrower because of the bike path and the cars are further out in the street, and then the buses double park, there is no Broadway left between the subway station up to the Parkway. The street is horrendous with the buses. They don't know where to park, these bus drivers, or they weren't told.
I gotta say though, that at the Manhattan College Invitational, that was not a problem. Those buses were moved along really quickly. They were not stacked up. The DP, they just jumped right onto the PEP squad, and the police came really quickly when there was one bus driver who was kind of dallying. I think it was like night and day compared to how it was 3 years ago.
I'm not really addressing that one event, but it's constant now for the weekends that the different school departments are having different sports happening there, tracks and whatnot. Like I spent the weekend in this last weekend, and the buses were so prevalent that the traffic wasn't barely moving. It almost looked like rush hour.
Oh, Herb, that's the first time I'm hearing about it this past weekend. I will talk with PEP and PD and see if they can come take a ride out. We do have on the next few weekends, we still have some more races coming up. So I'll please ask them to come out and move things along. They have been really responsive, I would say. The 50th has been very, very good about coming out and moving traffic when requested. PEP also, when they're available, you know, we don't have PEP specifically detailed to Van Cortlandt Park. So when they're able to, they do come in and move cars along. I've also been known to move a car or two along myself. So if you Herb, you have my number. If anything is happening, just give me a call.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Are there any other questions for Stephanie? All right, Stephanie, thank you so much. And looking forward to working with you moving forward. So the next item on our agenda is any new business? Any new business anyone want to bring up? Any events?
I know I've been chatting a lot here, but I need to or would like to make an announcement. Is this the right time? Bob, you
Yes.
regulate me all the time. Tell me.
Oh, this Ramdot's in charge of this meeting, Herb, not me.
Yes, Herb,
know.
you may make the announcement
Okay.
about the event.
All right. Then allow me the time then. If I'm wrong, strip me down and tell me later.
No, you have the floor, Herb.
Oh, okay. I've been chatting too much all evening, so sorry about that. It just happened to be subjects I wanted to jump in. Now, my main reason really being with the P&R committee, I must admit, was because I'm deeply involved with Memorial Grove, which is on the edge of Broadway and 246th Street. This, and 2 weeks from now, on November 7th at 12 noon, we do a ceremony for the Veterans Day. So it's everybody's invited. I presume you'll be there too, Stephanie. Ramdot, I hope you would be there. Invitations went out, but I understand a lot of them didn't reach parties, and so I've been trying to call around. So once again, there's Manhattan College is helping out with cleaning the day before, and we will have a ceremony called Veterans Day ceremony. Although it's the Sunday before Veterans Day, it'll be November 7th at 12 o'clock, and it'll be very nice. I hear that honor guards are going to arrive, so it'll be a nice flag ceremony, etc. And I just hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thanks, Herb. I have a quick question before I bring Bob in. Did you happen to send the board office the flyer for this event so that we can post it up on the board social media or Facebook? Herb?
Were you addressing me?
Yeah, I was wondering if the flyer was sent to the board office, that way we can help promote it.
I think it was. In fact, I think I tried to deliver, and that's the time it was too early in the virus that everything was locked down. But so I don't think it got very far.
Okay, I will check. Okay.
Yeah, but announcements. I've been very poor at it because my advanced age has not allowed me to get around as I could in the past. So I've been just relying on word of mouth to be able to have attendance, period.
Perfect. All right, Bob, and then Mike.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Herb has been doing this Veterans Day event at the Memorial Grove for the last 12 years. It's a wonderful event. I've been there every year since he began it. And it's really a wonderful ceremony, and it's Herb who is responsible for the restoration of the Memorial Grove because he brought it to everybody's attention that it was there, and frankly, most of us who use Van Cortlandt Park didn't even know there was Memorial Grove in the park, and Herb and his late partner Don Tannen really reminded us about it, and we collectively, with Herb and Don, the community board got some funding to restore the Grove. But I really do encourage everybody to try to come out on November 7th at noon because it's a wonderful ceremony, and it may be the last time that Herb does it. So that's going to be an issue going forward, finding somebody else to carry on this tradition. And we will bring it up at the exec meeting next week and make sure that word about the event goes out more broadly in the community. That's all. Thanks.
All right, Mike.
Hi, Herb. I just want you to be aware that we will be delivering the small lectern and the small sound system to the district the Friday before, so they will have it charged all day
Yeah, I was gonna
Saturday, so it could be used Sunday.
I was going to mention to remind to get the battery charged.
I heard there was a little bit of a thing last year with the battery running out of juice. We'll make sure it's charged.
Oh my God, the commissioner felt so bad about it. She made sure that I let the district know that they have to pick it up the Friday before and charge it all day Saturday.
Thank you for watching out for me. I appreciate it. I give you all a great big hug.
Thanks, Herb, and we'll make sure we get the word out about the Veterans Day ceremony. And we, thank you for always planning it and seeing it through. Are there any other announcements? Any new business? Anything that needs to be discussed? Awesome. So moving on, the next thing is any old business that we need to address. Bob, any new business? Deb?
No, I don't have anything, Ramdot.
Perfect.
I guess
Rob,
only-
any? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Deb.
I was just going to add one thing, which it relates to Tibbetts Tail, which is the fence. That I don't know yet whether that fence is a New York State DOT, New York City DOT issue, or if it's a parks issue. But I wanted to, so on my committee, I'm following up with that just to kind of clarify who belongs to that fence or who that fence belongs to. But I
Deb-
want to also have that on your radar too.
Deb, are you referring to the fence like directly adjacent to the highway or the fence on the street?
No, I'm referring to the highway fence. Yeah, the street fence is all yours, but that the highway fence seems to me like it should belong to New York State DOT because it's essentially there to protect people in the park from the highway. And so, I think that it's unfortunate that the park itself is not safe because that highway fence is in poor repair, and that seems to me an issue that the New York State DOT is uniquely qualified to address. And should be their responsibility because it's the traffic that's creating the safety issue.
Thanks, Deb. Marie?
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are.
It's a small question as to whom I would address the complaint. An outdoor structure is so built that when it rains, the water piles up into the street pit and washes away the mulch, the compost, and the down to the soil. Who do I say something to about this? Because I just
Marie,
yeah.
Which building or structure are you talking about?
It's an outdoor dining structure on West 231st. It has extended to block a laundromat, which has a tree that I've been mulching with the people at the laundromat and putting some compost. But water, it piles up around by that structure and it spills onto the tree, part of the sidewalk. Nothing bad for people. It just keeps washing away the covering of the street tree. So this is an issue for the Parks Department or sanitation. I don't know who takes care of water drainage. I mean, Parks Department, I guess, it's a small problem, but it's very local and it matters to me. But this is an outdoor structure, so I really don't know.
Marie, you're referring to the restaurant Bronx Public, right?
Yes.
Because I know that I live in the area, so that's why I was, when you said, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No worries. Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'd like just to do something. I mean, as I said, I've decided finally to just, it washes away. I fill it up again. I've even cleaned the drains that get clogged up myself because the restaurant doesn't do it. But if there was a way, I mean, I'm going to put some logs, low-lying logs at the tree pits. So the water, I don't know, just bypasses the tree pit, that's all.
Joe, can Parks do anything about that? About the mulch around that tree?
It
That's,
sounds like the issue is coming because of the outdoor dining structure.
It
Mhm.
is.
So it's, yeah, so I don't know what department, it sounds like maybe a Department of Buildings, I don't know, but it's definitely not us.
So Ramdad, I think so far the outdoor dining, open street stuff has been handled by Nick on the economic development, but that it did, I think, just turn over to DOT. But probably Nick would be the expert in terms of how much enforcement there is for that kind of issue.
Well,
I'm sure
what
that's
to
not the
do?
first time.
Okay.
yeah, so Marie, that will be our Economic Development Committee.
Tomorrow.
But if you just send an email to the board office, the board office will definitely forward it to Nick, and Nick can look at it and maybe talk to the business or the manager or the business owners and see how we can have this addressed moving forward.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Mike, was your hand up or was that from before?
No, I was just going to say that that the tree pits are designed to take in some water, so perhaps blocking all the water may not be the way to go. But I would definitely take that up with whoever, because it does seem like it's perhaps too much water going in there. So definitely take it up with someone if the structure is causing damage to the tree.
Yeah, I've noticed it. And thank you, Marie, for bringing that up. I thought it was just like one or a few occurrences. I didn't know it was a regular thing. So thank you for that.
Matt, Ramdad.
Go ahead, Herb.
I think it needs a little carpentry because the construction of the shed, I call it, is tightly against the curb. So if a portion of the 2x4, 4x4, whatever it is on the bottom support is cut out and you allow a tunnel underneath the shed for water to pass through, it would probably solve that problem.
Yeah, that's something I will talk to our chair of economic development. So Marie, as soon as you can send that correspondence to the board office, I can get working and figure out how we can solve this moving forward.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank
No, of
you.
course. And thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Is there anything else? Marie, is your hand up from before or?
No, that's right. Thank you.
No, no worries. Is there anything else?
Hands up to you, Ramdad. Great job.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that, we're able to meet and, get a lot of our parks up and tidy shape for all of our community, especially Bailey, which is also on my radar. All right. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Perfect, thanks. So everyone have a great evening. And I will see you all. We will meet in December. There's no meeting in November. Bye, y'all.
Yeah, you
Have
have
a
to
great
put
evening.
the exact date in December.
Bye-bye.
The
Yes, I
exact
will.
date in December.
Yes.
Okay. Ramdad, this is your first meeting. You did a great job. I want to compliment you.
Thank you, Marvin.
Thanks, Ramdad. We'll talk soon.
Yes, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Bye, Rob.